Good morning, ladies and gents, boys and girls. We are back once again with Automation / BeamNG.Drive, and today we have something a little bit different. It's going to be our first delve into proper rally cars. A good friend of mine suggested that I should build a Lancia 037, or at least something adjacent to it, so that's exactly what we're going to do today. So this is the basis of the Bellaforte Dolomiti from 1985. That name is a mouthful. It's named after the Dolomite Mountains, but stay with me. It's, again, heavily based on the Lancia 037. It's got some changes involved. If we head over to the engine, I wanted to make the engine slightly different. I know the real thing was I think it was the S4 that came after this that was twin-charged. This is a V6, 2.3 litre V6 with twin turbos, which would have been quite revolutionary for the time if this was the mid-80s. You can see there dip in the power. It is, of course, an 80s twin turbo, though, so there's going to be some lag in the middle before it then hits boost. I thought 312 horsepower was ignore the voice crack. I thought that was really good for a car of this era, especially given that it's all quite experimental. Very, very light, very powerful for its weight. And actually, I need to change the rev limit. I've just realised it's topping out there. That's no good. I need to fix that a little bit. But we're going to, of course, hop into the speed build, where I will attempt to make this body bend to my will. It's made more for like MR2s and Ferraris and that sort of thing, but I will attempt to make something that looks somewhat decent out of this, and you will no doubt see my struggle as we go through it. But yes, without further ado, we shall jump into the speed build and see how we get on. Alright, here we go. So, this was actually one of the easier cars to make during, well, this is what, episode 6 now. What I love is finally going back to older cars, well, like this, 80s cars, and getting to play with them a little bit, because there's just so much less going on, which is nice. And because modern cars are all angles and little plastic bits and pieces that don't really need to be there, it's like, when you go back to something like this, 80s, it's just functional, then it's so much nicer to build because you've got less to focus on, and you can spend more time on actually going back to your references and making sure it looks good. Anyway, so this is, well, heavily based on the Lancia 037, like we mentioned before. However, I wanted to come away from those circular headlights because I felt like if it had the circular headlights, it was going to look way too much like a Lancia. So I went with the square ones. However, of course, there's still a lot of bits and pieces that are quintessentially Lancia 037-esque. The body was the closest thing I could find, and like I wish we had something a bit more boxy, but this will do for the minute, and I think it gets the point across as to what it's trying to be. So putting on some moulding on the front bumper just to give it some profile so it's not all flat, makes it look nice. Spending some time actually dragging the little pieces around just so it contours with the rest of the front bumper and it looks nice, and yada yada yada, etc, etc. You know how it goes by now. Tried to find the right badge for a while, was looking for ages, eventually just settled on a nice cursive B because I thought, well, this is a premium brand, so it's going to be a premium car. I mean, story basically goes that this was something they built for this universe's version of Group B. They built it specially to compete, and they built a handful of road-going versions as well, and of course that story section will be coming up in a bit. Add in some vents. Everyone needs vents. There's a lot of vents on this thing. I think, again, if you're going to be having something that's Group B adjacent, you need to make sure it's got the appropriate cooling. So because it's also Group B as well, you're looking at lots of plasticky bits too. I think that looks good, like not just all body colour, but having some black plastic, because it was very light, so you wanted to save weight wherever you could, and this thing is incredibly light even with its all-wheel drive system. So now going ahead and looking at bits and pieces for vents. I've spent ages looking for bits I could put on the side until eventually just going, nah, I don't want vents at the minute, I'm just going to have some black plastic. We'll come back to that. Put in panel gaps, of course. It's a tiny, tiny little detail, but it makes it look so much better when it's believable that the doors can actually open. You know, there's so many cars I've done in the past where I didn't do that, and it looks like, you know, the trim is just covering the door, so it looks like you can't get out. Moving on to the rear, because the engine is mid. Not the engine is good, but the engine is mid-mounted. I was going to put lots of vents in the rear as well. I started out with this whole black plastic bit again. The theme really is black plastic with this. Again, 80s. You can't really blame me for doing that. And then eventually settling on more of a grille design. I was like, no, I want a grille in the middle. The engine needs appropriate cooling. So in goes a fat grille in the rear, which I think was pretty good. tried to go for some glass over the top of them, but couldn't quite get it to look right. And even went back later on, tried to 3D place them, it still didn't look right. So I left it be for the minute, although there was some funny wiggliness going on at the bottom, so I had to cover that up with some trim. Then moving on to, you guessed it, some more black plastic, just to cover up the grille. Again, make it look a bit better, something more to look at. I do end up giving it dual exhausts, when in actual fact I realised the car only had single exhaust, so only one is functional, but you can forgive me for that, surely. I'm putting in some trim there to make sure the exhausts have actual holes to cut through, so patches didn't work, so eventually just went for some cutouts. That looks a bit better. Putting in an engine bay, because the engine's very visible. Again, because they're not painted, it does look kind of funny in Beam, but it's Beam Exporter, like, you can forgive me for that. Again, it's always been an issue that the Beam Exports had, is just little textures here and there, although those tips that those commenters have been telling me are really useful. I've learned a lot from them, actually, so thank you guys for letting me know. And also with regards to the... what was going on about now? Oh, the textures. Yeah, right, the textures. Yeah, they look better. And also, I learnt to J-Beam edit. That's fun. And you'll see that come up in the other version of this car I built. So yes, spoiler alert, there are 2 versions of this car in this episode, so it will be a bit of a longer one again today. Now doing the interior, very basic. Again, it's an 80s interior, doesn't need to be very much. A mate of mine said, oh, it's like GT4 standard interior, which yes, it is. It's exactly what it is, or GT5 rather, but that's how I like them. As long as you can see it looks like an interior, that's fine. Adding on the Italian plates, giving it a once over again. Tried to go for some more vents here as well. I thought it would look good if it had some ventilation there, and there we go. That's the Bellaforte Dolomiti 1985. As you can see all the stats here. Mid-engined, all-wheel drive. Not quite supercar. It's not fast enough, I don't think, to go to the supercar category, but I think it'll be elite for sure because of the brand it belongs to. And then here we have the full-fat Group B version, which I've called SSP, stands for Special Stage Prototype. Absolute weapon of a vehicle. And you'll see later it's incredibly scary to drive. But now, as ever, here comes the story bit. This is the 1985 Bellaforte Dolomiti, a mid-engined Italian sports car that wasn't built to turn heads outside of nightclubs or to star in posters on the walls of teenagers. No, it was built for one thing, to go rallying. The road-going Dolomiti was already a bit of a revolution. Behind the seats sat a 2.3-litre V6 with not one but 2 turbochargers, a setup that was borderline science fiction in the mid-80s. The result was 312 horsepower funneled through a brand new helical all-wheel drive system with a clever central differential. It would throw more power to the rear than the front, which meant the Dolomiti practically danced when given an uneven surface to drive on. This promoted natural, correctable oversteer, like it had been designed by physics teachers with a sense of humour. Originally, Bellaforte only made 50 cars, the bare minimum needed to get it into the door of the SSP category, but people loved it. They loved it so much that Bellaforte were practically bullied into making more, and by the time the last Dolomiti rolled off the line, more than 3,000 had been built. Proof, if any were needed, that homologation specials sometimes don't always stay special for long if the demand is there. And then there was the SSP version. This was no longer the polite Italian sports car. This was a spare bones, fire-spitting monster, stripped interior, paper-thin panels and a set of enormous turbochargers bolted to that same 2.3-litre V6. The result? 502 horsepower, 1,070 kilos and 0 to 60 in just 2.5 seconds. Well, that's faster than most supercars today, never mind in 1985. On the stages, the Dolomiti was devastating. It won multiple rallies in its debut year, and one even finished a Finland rally with only 3 wheels left on it. Any normal car would have given up long before the first jump, but the Dolomiti just carried on, spitting enormous flames until the end. Of course there were drawbacks. The turbo lag was biblical, the kind where you could order an espresso in the pause before the boost actually arrived, but in the right hands it was manageable, more than manageable in fact. It was championship winning. The Dolomiti stormed to the SSP world title in 1985, showing the world that Bellaforte could do more than just build glamorous supercars and elegant Grand Tourers. It never took the crown again though. Once the competition caught up, Dolomiti was outpaced. But for that one glorious year, it wasn't just another Italian exotic, it was a rallying legend. Goodwood again. Here we go with the original Dolomiti. This one, as you can see in the beginning there, it's only got one single functioning exhaust. I gave it dual exhaust by accident. Feel free to ignore that, or if it makes you angry, then tell me in the comments. You can do whatever you want. It's your life. But this is, yeah, an interesting car to drive, because you'd think with the way its body is designed, it would be quite nimble. It's actually quite sluggish through corners, and I think that's due to the weight of the all-wheel drive system having to slow down a lot for these corners, because it just understeers, which I guess was quite typical of cars back then, especially the early all-wheel drive cars. They didn't have it all figured out yet, which makes a lot of sense, actually. It's not that it drives poorly, it's that it's historically accurate. So we'll go with that until I figure out how to tune suspension slightly better, because I'm still working on it, and I know that there's a lot of suspension settings that don't actually matter in Beam, but, you know, there we are. Very, very composed to drive, though. Didn't take too many attempts to throw this thing up the hill, and it comes home with a time of 56 seconds, 0.238, which puts it second. Fantastic for something that only has 312 horsepower. The fact that it's, I say only, but the fact that it's almost as fast as the Valanche is amazing. Anyway, here is the noisemaker, and I was talking about the J-Beam editing earlier. I basically went into J-Beam and just turned the turbos up as loud as I could. Like, I wanted insane turbo noise, and it has insane turbo noise. On the actual system, when you're playing it, this thing will just blow your eardrums out. It's fantastic, and also ridiculously quick. As you can see here, we get up to almost 140 miles an hour heading down to Morecambe. The rally suspension does make it slightly floppier, but that all-wheel drive power and 502 horsepower just carries it anywhere you want to go. Actually, I want to say it's quite good. That aero that it's got does help it through corners quite a lot. It's got a little bit of downforce working in its favour as well. Little readjustment there before all 29.6 psi of boost hits. A little lift off here, of course, and then we just power all the way to the finish line. And we shall see the time in a second. And unsurprisingly, yeah, 51 seconds, 0.191. It's the fastest thing we've ever had, which makes total sense when you look at it and what it's built to do. So we'll now move to the track and rally stage and see what they can do there. When given an actual track, this thing is pretty good. It, like I mentioned before, it still does understeer, and that's apparent when you look at the way it drives. But in a straight line, it's pretty good. There is a little bit of turbo lag when boost kicks in. It's fantastic. Then again, that's very typical of an 80 sports car, especially if it's trying to run twin turbos as well. So, but I was pleasantly surprised with how it drove, especially through these faster chicanes. It can hold its lines pretty well. It threatens to oversteer on brakes, but again, to be expected. Mid-engine, not quite supercar, mid-engine sports car. So, well, they're saying that it does top out in the 170, so it is pretty quick for the time if going off of the 80s. But yeah, so as you will see, though, it does understeer through these corners. These like double right-handers, right angles. Coming down the back straight, though, very quick, very good turn of speed in a straight line, because it's not geared like the SSP version. It's geared to actually be good down straight and have a good turn of top speed. Through the corners, you can see having to feather the throttle just to stop it from understeering off the track. Then it threatens to oversteer there. It's quite a exhilarating thing to drive, truthfully. It's definitely unique. Like, I think the Canary, the R-Type, although that was all-wheel drive, that actually handled a bit better than this did, but again, you can forgive it because of its age. Through these chicanes here, again, it actually, yeah, drifts wide, almost hit the wall, save it. Again, that all-wheel drive definitely helping pull it back into a straight line. And this long sweeping right-hander here, it's pretty good. Again, for the sweepers, it's very good. It's just for these right angles, it's very unpleasant. As you can see here, it goes wide a little bit, just pulling it round. And now through the tricky bit, which is the handling section, which again isn't going to favour anything all-wheel drive. This is for the rear-wheel drive cars, mainly the lighter cars too. So because this is, yeah, it's got an interesting setup, so it's not going to behave as it should around here. Basically, it's going to be a little bit wobbly, a little bit, and you can see a little jump over the curves there, coming around to the final corner. So this was actually the second lap I did, and this was better than the third one. And it got a 2 minutes 7 seconds 0.752, and of course we'll see how that stacks up at the end. But now it is time for the weapon. You can see the sheer amount of speed is incredible as it heads across the bridge. I'm actually thinking of possibly shortening the rally course, because it's a bit long, I think. I did find some shorter ones, but for the minute, this is quite fun. It's got some good elevation changes, it's bumpy, it's pretty cool, but I found a faster rally track, so of course let me know if you guys would rather see a shorter rally circuit or a rally stage. I'm more capable of doing that, and we can always move everything over. But for the minute, let us enjoy some Group B-esque sights and sounds of the Bellaforte SSP doing its thing. This thing is terrifying to drive on dirt. If you thought it was terrifying on road, then here it should be in its element, but this is this is different, completely different. Get the arse end out there around that corner. It's always fun to flick it out there. In any car, it's fun to do that corner. And through the snow section, it's so powerful. It's never capable of being at like 100% throttle, or you can be at 100% throttle, but for like 2 seconds. You can never be at full throttle for very long, which is almost hit a tree there. So again, like it's almost behaves like the Audi Quattro, where it's sometimes massive oversteer, sometimes massive understeer, and you never know what you're going to get until you get there. But it's bloody good fun, is what I will say. Like, it's just because it keeps you guessing. Now, the actual process to get a clean run out of this thing is less fun. I think it took about, I want to say 15 to 20 attempts minimum. Like, it was, it wasn't a chore. Like, it still was fun by the end, but the yeah, it's just unique, just a unique thing to drive. And of course the turbo lag is monumental, and then when the boost does finally kick in, it just catapults you in whichever direction the wheels so happen to be facing. So bear that in mind. But yeah, thought this interesting song pick as well. I was like, I want an 80s song, I want a Eurobeat remix of the 80s songs. Of course, this is Lisa's cover of Heaven is a Place on Earth, which actually got inspired by a Group B video. I think it's the Age of the Supercar one. I might link that below. It's a fantastic video, which was mainly the inspiration for making a Group B version of this car in the first place. But yeah, just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Like, completely insane thing to drive as it bounces across the bumps. And again, never always at full throttle, never always at full boost. But, I mean, look at it go, look at it fly. It's a ridiculous machine. And I hope to build some more Group B-esque competitors for it in the future as well, just to a similar sort of spec, similar power and weight, that sort of thing, just to see how they all stack up really. Coming across the line here, and some celebratory donuts, of course, because it has the power to do so, with a 2 minutes 41.312. So again, by a country mile, the absolute fastest thing we've had, not only on the Goodwood Hill climb, but also on the rally stage as well. And now, of course, we move to the final rankings. So here we are at the end once more. An incredibly interesting pair of cars to drive, these completely different to each other despite the fact they share very similar drivetrains. But we will now get on to the list, and as we can see here, of course, the Dolomiti SSP absolutely dominates the Goodwood shootout, with its compatriot coming in third as well. So third and first, lovely show from the pair of them. Honestly, like, I didn't expect them to be that quick, especially since they're, well, at least the Group B version isn't necessarily designed for the road. Then we move on to the lap times. The road car actually managed to place second, just behind the Valanche V1. We are getting closer to beating that lap time around the circuit for sure. So it actually beats the Fandango, which is really impressive. The Fandango could never hook up, could it? Rally stage, only one clear winner. And this is why I'm considering making a shorter rally stage, is because the times at this stage are so far apart. Despite the fact the SSP couldn't actually get much grip, it still went, well, a solid 20 seconds quicker than the Canary AT, which is just insane. As I said, I would put the normal Dolomiti in the elite class, so as far as that's concerned, it is the only car sitting in S tier at the moment, has no competitors yet. It will do shortly because it's, well, it's not supercar and it's not quite normal sports car either, so I thought it sat there. And finally, the off-road tier list, as we can see again, another reason for why I'm looking at a different rally stage is because the times are so far apart. It's literally half a minute faster than anything else behind it. I mean, I know the SSP is an absolute weapon of a machine, but I think something needs to be done there. Anyway, that has been the Bellaforte Dolomiti SSP, and I've been your host, Ollie. It's been very nice to go through the motions with you guys once again. Next time, I'm not sure what I'm thinking. Again, I say this at the end of the episode, I'm genuinely not sure what we're doing next, but whatever it is, I'm hoping it won't be boring. I'm really enjoying these fun, more motorsports-oriented cars, and it's nice to have something different every episode. But thank you very much once again for watching, and thank you, and we'll see you soon.